Welcome back, everybody out there in YouTube land. It is your friends with Fearscape Unhinged.
Those are lasers, and there's a reason for the lasers. So if you want to know what that is, stick around.
Yeah, so it's been a little bit.
Tiddlywink of a little bit. COVID is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it. COVID's crazy. Super crazy. And so we have been busy doing a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
But who cares about that?
Who cares?
Because you want to know what the pew pew pews are for,
That's
right?
right.
We're back. We're unhinged. We're crazy. He's nuts. We're going to talk to you about something that has blown us away since COVID. So what's happened to us through through COVID
is
watching some weird stuff.
Yeah. Well, and there's not been like a lot of regular TV.
No.
So it's just been like nonstop Gaia
and YouTube.
which you tumble down the YouTube rabbit hole, it's almost as bad as Reddit.
I mean, we have a thread going on with Santosh, our buddy, as well. And he has been victim to these YouTube like rabbit holes as well. And we've been sharing things with each other, it's just Wonderland. It is not.
No.
It is a frightening land.
Land.
But of course, we are talking about Gaia mostly. Granted, yes, we hope you guys go to fearscape.com/what Gaia?
Gaia offer.
Gaia offer, and check out the offer we have through them. Please do. But we also seriously love Gaia, and we discovered a program called Deep Space.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That is
That
correct.
was the first one we really all started really digging into, and then all of a sudden we started binging the hell out of it.
Yeah. Which
and-
I still haven't finished it, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, actually, I changed gears, went to Ancient Civilizations.
Which is also a really good
and
kind
I
of
think I've
program.
got like 6 episodes left of Deep Space.
Oh man, you need to get in on it. But one of the big things that Deep Space talks about, and I wouldn't say it's the primary focus, but it is definitely one of the primary focuses.
Actually, I would say it's the primary
Would you?
focus. Yes.
Okay, well, he says so. I do not. I think it also talks about other stuff, but it is definitely a huge focus, and that is the secret space program.
Now, the reason I say that it is the main focus about the whole thing is about the secret space program is because there's like, what, 3 seasons?
Two.
Two seasons.
Yeah.
And each episode starts with like the Nazis on the moon and how that was all done, and then
Thus the name Deep Space.
it all builds from there, and then everything else that it talks about is pulling in the idea of like, so basically it's building a case for secret space. You know what's really crazy to me?
Your change of thoughts right there was crazy.
Well, no. So one of the things that they interview, or they like 2 people they interview on that program, are like space marines.
Oh, I know. Supposedly space marines. I mean, we will always try to maintain this much level of skepticism because it's done well. And I'll tell you what, Gaia has a lot of the same folks showing up in all of their programs, which on one hand people could be like, well, that already is a problem.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like, it all blends it all together to fit this huge overarching narrative. But yeah, the secret space program, I gotta say, I'm pretty convinced.
Yeah.
Just through the research that we've been digging into, talking to Alan Greenfield recently, and just all the John Keel stuff, the ultra-terrestrial stuff, and then we saw.
Ancient Civilizations ties into it.
Yes, it does. The ancient civilization stuff, as well as the occult stuff.
Yeah.
Just watched, I don't know if you watched it or not, but some YouTube crazy video called like NASA and the occult. And they dug into a flip side of the deep space program, or the secret space program, tied in with the occult and Aleister Crowley, which then of course makes me go, Alan Greenfield, like, I don't know. But essentially, yeah, like you were talking about, like some of this, according to this program, but others, I mean, this is not new research.
Not the only one.
Yeah, we've been researching more than just deep space. We've looked into it in a lot of other avenues, but essentially, it seems to me that it really started hammering away during World War II.
Yeah. Well, the thought process there, of course, is that the Nazis were developing what they had the bell.
The bell, which
right?
is pretty well documented.
Right. And so from there, it only further, we all know that during World War II, Nazi Germany was far beyond us in technology.
For sure.
Right.
The only thing they couldn't crack was the nuclear bomb,
right.
which we did, thanks to their
With
defectors. But anyways, you've seen some of these old blueprints and things like that they were working on saucer vehicles and things like that. They were also working on anti-gravity type things, and there is pretty good proof for using different types of things, whether it be sound or air or different things to create almost an anti-gravity type situation. And they have a lot of things that they were supposedly working on
that just disappeared.
So what a lot of people theorize is that these people, the Nazis, took off. A good chunk of them took off, possibly Hitler. Who knows? We know that more than likely the person that died was one of many Hitlers.
It was a clone, like Star Wars.
Yeah, not even necessarily a clone, but an avatar, another person that's taking...
A lookalike.
A lookalike, thank you. That's the easier word I was looking for. That he actually died in that explosion that the Tom Cruise movie was about.
Yes.
That one.
The not very good movie.
Yeah. But that was a true story about a Nazi bringing in the briefcase and, blah, 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 explosion. He supposedly died there. Anyways, to get off that a lot of them left and went to a secret base in Antarctica.
Right.
Because at that time, people were really trying to figure out Antarctica.
Well, and they talk about the fact that I don't know if this is fact, so I don't want to say that word, but that there was some sort of a battle at Antarctica.
Yes.
Where crafts rose up out of the
right. And even we've forgotten his name again. The guy that went down to was it Perry? Admiral Perry?
I think, yes, that sounds right.
I believe it's Perry. I'm sorry. This is unhinged. I don't give shit.
Perry.
Perry. He went down there during his, hey, I'm going to explore Antarctica. He has claimed, and it came out in newspapers and a lot of other things, that he saw flying saucers that bore the swastika.
Right.
And was able to travel, as he put it, and this is a very famous phrase, from pole to pole instantly, in an instance.
I know some women who can do that.
I do too. But yeah, was able to go from the North Pole to the South Pole in seconds. That it was able to travel that fast. And then it is also assumed that after that point, they set up a base on the moon because they were able to go to space.
Yeah, the dark side of the moon.
The dark side of the moon and all kinds of things like that. And then you tie in, and here's where the conspiracy theories get in with the United States, is that you'll recall after World War II, we get our Roswell crash. We also start to see the beginnings of Project Paperclip and the beginnings of NASA.
Well, there's the really big UFO-related crash in Kentucky during that time. The fighter pilot out of Radcliffe that chased the UFO and ended up crashing. That's all around the same time,
there was a huge, of course, UFO flap during the late 40s and early 50s, and then it stopped for about 10 years, which is really interesting, but we're not talking about that. But anyways, so all this stuff was happening, and then they basically, because of the Cold War, I'm throwing that in air quotes, because of the Cold War, they took all of these scientists from Nazi Germany, the head of the heads, the top, to make them come work for us and develop our rocket program as a way to compete with Russia or the Soviet Union at the time, which that did indeed happen. And in fact, Werner von Braun,
the guy you didn't know about.
Yeah, I didn't know about, but then was like, maybe I did. Is basically the creator of NASA in a lot of ways. Right. I mean, he took over it for a long time. He's responsible for us getting to the moon and all sorts of things like that. So there were, hundreds of Nazi scientists. Now, again, this is where I say the theorists really kick in, is that the United States was trying to get the technology. that the Nazis had already created, and that they did indeed do so.
I want to make a distinction here because I don't want historians harping on it.
Right.
These scientists worked for Nazi Germany. They may not have actually been
Nazis. Sure.
So
sure.
They might have just been kind of conscripted into working for Nazi Germany, but they might not have had the same belief system.
Von Braun did. he was. There's a lot of people trying to remove his name from things right now.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, thank you. But at this point, that was the theory. Though another set of theorists believe that we had, you've heard the idea of the shadow government and stuff like that, that already existed at that point, and that we were already in league with Russia and other top countries to get these Nazi scientists so that we could build a secret space program that is Earth-based, not just United States-based, not just Russia-based, that is one, because there is a bigger threat that is out there.
Well, you know, they talk a lot about, there's a lot of theories that Nazi Germany, the reason they were so able to build UFO-type craft is because they were in league with the lizard race. I can't think of what they're called right now, but basically these ETs that were lizard people. Or
there's 100 names. I mean, we got Silurians, the Anunnaki,
They came down and they're like, oh, they're also all about, you know, race superiority. And so they come down and they see these Nazis and they're like, oh, they're just like us. They hate people.
Right.
And so then they help them to try.
Well, and then there's other theorists that say that it was not the lizard people, but it was the blondes. The ones that, like, Adamski saw and those guys, which, like, perpetuated that idea of the Aryan race because they were supposed to be blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and things like that. And there is a theory that whether it was Himmler or Hitler or one of the other guys in the main league had been contacted or had been a contactee, so to speak, by these blondes, the blondes letting them know that, hey, we perpetuated your race thousands of years ago.
Right.
Those of you that are Aryan come from our bloodline, which is a lot of where some of that idea supposedly came from, that they were the master race because they were the race that put all the rest of humanity into slavery.
It's kind of like if you were to learn that you were a direct descendant of Adam.
Right. Which,
aren't we all?
Aren't we all? Adam Carolla.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so to skip all past all the Nazi stuff, this has had precedent that the rocket program was a cover.
Yeah.
That we already had that technology, that we had to do things based off of the technology of the day as opposed to cover.
The commercially available technology.
Right, so they were able to send things up while also sending other things out to continue to build the base that the Nazis built on the dark side of the moon and supposedly...
colonize Mars.
And colonize Mars. So there's supposedly a colony on Mars. In fact...
I think if you look at the sci-fi show that is now on Amazon, The Expanse.
Yes.
Everywhere that there's a colony there is supposedly a colony amongst the system.
Oh, really?
So Mars, what's that? Ganymede. I don't know if they necessarily go to the asteroid belt, but it would stand the reason there's a lot of ore.
Yeah, no, I think they are. I think a lot of them, from what I've watched from it, I think they live near asteroid belts and stuff as opposed to work to mine. But yeah, very, very interesting, and
kind of fills into our theory that a lot of like things that are introduced as part of TV and movies to try to either A, gauge the public's response, or B, desensitize us to these ideas because they're actually happening.
Yeah, and we've talked about that 100 times. But one of the other things is that most of the astronauts that have gone up do not know about the secret space program. Some have discovered things, supposedly. In fact, the first moon landing, supposedly, the camera sat a certain way on purpose. That part of Aldrin and Armstrong's other mission was to take a look at something on the other side of the camera.
Yeah.
For whether it's life or a base or...
but something that was there that they didn't want everybody else to see.
Right, and has since been moved. And even Michael Collins is very it's very interesting when he talks about the things he saw on the dark side of the moon when he orbited it while waiting. It almost seems like he's leaving things out.
Yeah. Well, what really struck me as interesting amongst all the other things that were interesting is that the moon rung like a bell.
Yeah. Now, this is indeed, again, there is truth in the midst of all this possible fiction. And I say possible fiction because we don't know.
Right.
But yeah, NASA and the United States government did indeed set off a bomb on the moon as a way to
bombs in space. Space.
There's a way to check its density and to see what the inside was essentially, hopefully made of. And what they found was that it was probably hollow.
Like rung.
It rung. It reverberated for a solid 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And they do not have an answer for that in terms of the official NASA.
Right.
There is no answer for that for the secret space program. It's because there is a base inside the moon that was already set up, supposedly, not by the Nazis, but the Nazis were able to take over the base, so to speak.
And so, one of the theories that's out there is that the moon was actually a spaceship.
Yes. That
brought previous people to Earth, and so it's just been up there
hanging out
for all these years,
fixing our tides and shit.
Right.
But yeah, it's all very, very interesting, and it's all in a way to protect us. That as well as creating that they say that there is technology that is hundreds of years past what we have right now. And, that's, again, why we see these futuristic things on the sci-fi programs as a way to slowly get us used to it. And I feel like because of the secret space program, we're starting to see a move away from that idea that humans will panic if we let them know things.
Right.
And
this, like I said, that's why we're getting into I was thinking about it today. What's that show that was on in the 90s? Where the aliens come and they visit and they work side by side with people.
Talking about Alien Nation?
Yes.
I love that
what
show.
if that was an experiment to see how the public would react to that being
true?
Well,
I mean, that's essentially Star Trek, is that essentially we, that was one single race, where Star Trek has many. But yeah, that idea that we
Alien Nation, though, was just like they were on Earth working amongst us.
Yeah.
What would it be like?
Yeah, what would it be like? And and there was that show mostly focused on the idea of prejudice and things like that, but it's a fan movie. The original movie is really, really good as well. But yeah, the whole thing is just, it's crazy. And some of that talked about the League of Five, I think is what it was. It talked about the different races of space races that are working together. We've got like the humans, the blondes, the grays, the lizard people, and
there's two different lizard people.
Yeah, there's there's subcategories and all kinds of stuff. And I think there was like I don't know, like a beast type something or other, or maybe the fish. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a minute, and we've read so much other stuff about other civilizations like the Dogons and things like that from Sirius. So I don't know.
So
I don't know. And Ganymede is interesting. You mentioned that because isn't that where Lanulos was supposed to be?
Yeah. On the Ganymede galaxy.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
But,
But again, it could have been trying to explain things in simple terms.
That's also true.
So anything to kind of wrap up the secret space program? Anything you want to lead people to go check out?
Again, check out Gaia. It is a great app. It is a great.
I don't want this to sound like a commercial, right?
Right, but
because we have a Gaia offer, but it's because we love Gaia.
We were watching Gaia for about 6 months before we were like, can we get them in league with us?
Yeah.
Because it is really good. Deep Space, especially if you're into all this alternative history stuff, Deep Space and Ancient Civilizations are probably my two favorite shows.
And I've actually used it. They have a lot of stuff on there for like meditation.
Oh, and yoga and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's more than just paranormal oddities. But yeah, you can get on there if you've already got it, or if you want to. What is it? You get a free month with us, or
you get a free trial and then a discounted.
Yeah, so remember, fearscapepodcast.com/Gaia offer, and that's GAIA. Check it out. I think you'll like Gaia. I don't know if you can find it anywhere else, unless you're a pirater. You might be able to find it, but it's deep space, and it really it's just really, really interesting. I thought it was going to be really, I'm not going to lie, thought it was going to be dumb. I thought, well, this is some sci-fi bullshit. And
but it was really, I mean, not only was it a real interesting topic, but it was put together really well.
Really well. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, if it's not real, they got me. Because, man, they even, like we had mentioned it before we even go, it's like they even claim to have astronauts that were part of the secret space program.
They're fighting the war in
that
space.
Sound a lot like Space Force.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
I almost feel like NASA was spun up to be the public face of our secret space program.
Which is why it was
civilian. Space Force was now spun up to be the public facing of our war in space.
War in space.
So we could devote funds to something without them being questioned.
And part of that they talked about too is that, you know, these people that become deep space, secret space program, they're kind of plucked at an early age, like, and trained from most of their childhoods and things like that, because it's all illegal, essentially. I mean, this is run by a shadow government that is higher up than even the United States, because supposedly it's a world government.
Right.
So Christian conspiracy theorists are already freaking out. I already know it. It's not the end times here. But yeah, I'm just going to throw this out there. If you are a part of the secret space program and you want to talk to us, email us at fearscapepodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, wanted to put that out there. But yeah, share your thoughts below. If you have heard of the secret space program, which apparently is not so secret anymore, though it does tend to show up at a lot of UFO conventions and paranormal conventions. There are speakers about it, people who've been silenced, all sorts of crazy stuff. Do your research if you don't have Gaia and you don't want to get Gaia. Just search secret space program and
there's tons.
Take a look at it. And
there's a lot on YouTube even.
Yeah, there's a ton on YouTube. But yeah, check all that stuff out. Thanks for listening to us. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Yep.
Click
that little notification bell.
Yeah,
and you know when
bong, just like the moon's bell. It'll ring for 8 minutes. I'm sorry. But yeah, that way you're up to date on any new video that we post or anything like that. Make sure to check out our podcast as well. All of this stuff can be found at fearscapepodcast.com. Whether you want to join Socialscape, our new social networking aspect to our website, or if you've got a sighting, if you've had a UFO sighting or any of that, you can contact us and submit a sighting.
Get one of these awesome shirts on the store.
Yeah, I did not get this from the store. I got this from Target. But no, it's Baby Yoda though. Anyways, thank you guys so much for even just giving a shit about Fearscape.
Yeah.
But especially Fearscape Unhinged. I love this show. I'm glad we're back. Doing
From
it.
outer space.
From outer space, yeah. We have been in a secret space program. I went to Venus and it is shaped like a penis. Anyway,
on that note,
we will catch you guys later. And this has been Stefan. I will catch you on the flip side.
This has been Josh. The truth is out there.
And remember, folks, hold those blankets extra tight because things tend to get spooky when you're listening or watching Fearscape Unhinged. Good night, everybody.
Good night.